Let's have some tea. It's tea time. This episode of Tea Time is brought to you by Tag Gamba. Only tea that's worth drinking. Although the teas in Zimbabwe are terrible. They're horrible. It's tea time. Where my peoples is at? Let's talk. Where my peoples is at? Yo, what up, people? We're together again. Did you believe yesterday as we spoke, ladies and gentlemen, could you believe that the bad city planning was going to kill people? Could you believe that? See, yesterday I didn't believe that. When I spoke to you guys in the morning, I didn't think that people are going to die. Sadly, people died yesterday. It's very sad. If you go on my wall, you check out some of the videos of dead bodies on the streets of Harare. Dead bodies on the streets of Harare, ladies and gentlemen. That to me is incredible. So today we honor those dead. We talk about why it's important for us to vote the right way. Sorry, I'm making my tea whilst you people join. Let's have some tea. Let's have some tea. Okay. I've been banned from sugar. Chef Bay has banned me from sugar. So my tea is explicitly not as sweet and sexy as I normally like it. My brother Promise, how you doing? Tajamuka Rachose. Let's have some tea. Put some milk in there. The milk we're using today is Life by Pro Brands. Thank you, Callum. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm just having some tea. Just making my tea. Then we can go and talk. We can talk. Oh, man. How's everybody doing? You know, yesterday, guys, I swear to God, when we spoke yesterday about the shambles in town, about the people, about the injustice that was happening in town, I didn't believe that we're going to be talking about the death of people. You know, including the death of Sekuruma newspaper from Avondale. You know, I saw that on Maureen's wall. I'm like, oh shit, I know that guy. He was shot for nothing. It's a tough world. Let's have some tea. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? My sister Maureen, how you doing? It's a terrible, terrible thing that happened. Terrible thing that happened yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that you people who are watching need to know is this. What you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Minister of Home Affairs, the guy in charge of the police, is a gentleman by the name of Obert Mpofu. Now, police yesterday, on the streets with live ammunition, disgruntled citizens who had been forced to walk up and down town the whole day because of bad, poor planning by our government and our councillors. Frustrated citizens were greeted with live ammunition and live bullets. Subsequently, innocent people died. This gentleman, Obert Mpofu, owns the majority of Matebele land. My brother Calvin, I see you watching. Chances are where you're sitting is owned by Obert Mpofu. He's a fat bastard of a man. I mean, I look like a fat bastard, but he looks like he could eat me twice. He's a fat bastard of a man. We don't know where he gets his money, see, and which is why he was being interrogated yesterday by Parliament. There's no actual line of, this guy started a telecoms company. The company then did this and invested in this and then got bought by this person and then he got his money. No, his money is ethereal. It's that miracle money shit, see. It's similar to Chiwenga's money, where a general who earns $2,000 a month builds a house on top of the Bolojo brook. Now, I like Chiwenga, remember, so I'm just saying this with all due respect. At least I get soldiers shooting at me. Obert Mpofu yesterday was grilled by Parliament. See, he was called into a parliamentary hearing by Honorable Temba Mliswa and his committee. And they wanted to investigate. Where has the $15 billion gone? Because see, this nigga was actually in charge of them. He was the Minister of Mining at the time. You know, the time when all the mines were, when you could walk around Marange and pick up diamonds off the top of the soil, that's the nigga who Mugabe had put in charge of the mines. Now, when I look at the cunt, I think he ate the diamonds. I think let's cut his stomach open. That bastard is so greedy, he probably ate the diamonds. But he was being questioned yesterday and said, yo, where did the money go? Then he refused to answer the questions. You see, I saw some people say, no, but Temba must recuse himself and Temba must just let the vice president chairman take over. But the problem we have when you have a due process, ladies and gentlemen, is this. A man that entitled and a man that arrogant, if you let him walk into a committee and dictate who he wants to speak to and who he doesn't want to speak to, then the buck never stops. You understand? If you let him walk into any committee and do as he likes, the buck never stops. So initially he'll walk in and say, I don't want to be chaired by Temba Mliswa. Now, I'm not a big fan of Temba Mliswa. You remember who Temba Mliswa is, right? He's the guy who stole the companies from the Arungus, the Nashua investments. You know, he's a bit of a clown. He's the nigga who says, well, if you don't come to Zim grounds at the march, it's all attention seeking. And I had to remind the dumb bastard that, of course, we're seeking attention. But there's one thing that Temba Mliswa is good at. He's good at interrogating situations. You see, because he's got something to prove. He's got Napoleon complex. He's a small little nigga and he's got a stutter. He stutters. So he's angry all the time. You know, probably didn't get as much head as he wanted as a young man type thing. Not a very handsome looking nigga neither. So he works in the gym all the time to pump himself up. He's an angry bastard. And I always tell you niggas, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. And Temba's always paying attention. Because that nigga just like me, he's always angry. So I like the fact that Temba's the nigga sitting on the other side asking these other fuckboys questions. Number one, because Temba used to be a part of them, so he understands and knows them. And number two, he's angry, so he's paying attention. You cannot let Obert Mpofu walk into the fucking parliament building. The sacrosanct building that it is. This is where the representatives of the people sit. Look at a committee of the people's chosen people. These are elected officials. And then say, I don't want to be chaired by that particular little Napoleon-ass nigga. You can't allow him to do that. Because if Temba recuses himself and says, okay, let's get Temba out of the way, the vice president goes in, that fat cunt's going to say, well, I don't want to be chaired by him because he's a Shona. And then they'll remove that person, then they'll put an Anguni there, like, no, I don't want to be chaired by her because she's a woman. You see, if you let this arrogant fat cunt do what he likes, he'll make Parliament a circus. Yesterday he made Parliament a circus, and that upset me. And as if the gods knew what they were doing, after he made the circus that he did, the police that he controls went on the streets of Harare and shot people. Remember those police? See, this is the one reason why we thank the army, because those police have been taken off the streets. They went back on the streets yesterday. Titi says it doesn't work like that, Kuda. I don't know what you're referring to, Titi. Please explain, expand what you're saying so I understand what you're saying. Obert Mpofu is Mbava. You see, I struggle with these Mbava type peoples. See, at least with the weak, we know with the Kambava generation kedu kakanyora matenda kakababa kakadaiso. He was a sneaky little cunt. He's a bit of a fraudster, and we know how he got his money. But with this guy, we don't seem to know how he got his cash. This Obert Mpofu guy was once, he's come a long way. He was put in charge of Ministry of Mines. Marika Dromodgwa, yese bra. Kushikama mines avara, till the mines closed. Number 2, then he's put in charge of transport. Doubles the Zinera, doubles all the toll gates and doubles the fees. Makes them more expensive. No roads were fixed. I mean, this guy's the fattest looting cunt I've ever seen. He's looted the roads, he's looted the mines. Shit, this guy was Mugabe's personal banker. He's the guy who was holding the bag for Bob. Then, when it came time to now account for this shit, Mugabe then made him Minister of the Police, Home Office, right? Home Affairs. When you put the guy in Home Affairs, the army comes, removes the police off the street, then ED kept him in charge of the police. Let's think about this. Let's think about this for a second. Whereas a lot of these, we can understand Super being kept at ICT. We understand that. Super and my computer. And my phone. But why is it such a high appointment after dealing with the G40 cabal? Why is it that ED comes in, removes the police off the street, but then keeps that big fat Mbava still in charge of the police? I wonder, could it be that he was also laundering money and helping our current administration also with chicanery? He's so involved in the money and the trace of the money that they had to put the nigga in charge of the police so that they don't arrest themselves. Shit, we're not dumb, ladies and gentlemen. We're not dumb. That's taking the fucking fox and putting it in front of the hen house and say, protect the chickens. You're taking the fox and putting it in front of the hen house and say, protect the chickens. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I will keep saying this to you guys because you guys who are watching me are of a certain age and a certain demographic. When you see a fat cunt like that, see, I understand being a fat cunt, see, because I've been a fat cunt for a long part of my life. See, fat people don't generally have a lot of self-esteem. They got self-esteem issues. I never had that problem, but fat people have self-esteem issues. They overcompensate. I want you to go and find as many fat people online and see how they overcompensate. They always take selfies of their face only type shit. Fat people, and they're normally quite timid. Okay? This nigga is arrogant. This nigga, he carries himself different. This is the kind of nigga who walks into parliament and holds it to contempt. Why? Because the nigga knows where all the bones are buried. He's so powerful, in fact, that the police force is totally damaged by the army, but he's still kept in charge of the police force. The same police force that killed 3 innocent people yesterday. This nigga thinks he's untouchable. Yesterday when I saw him in parliament making a mockery of parliament, I was like, where's parliament, boys? Because we're tired of these guys on our back, on our coin, holding us to contempt. I propose the next time that guy is called, when he's written a letter and he's called to parliament, let's go to parliament too. See, I saw up in the bleachers, there was nobody there. We need to go to parliament too and hold these fuckers accountable. If I have to hold him down myself so we can reach into that big fat belly and take out the $15 billion worth of diamonds. That nigga believes he's untouchable. And he must atone for the deaths of those 3 human beings yesterday. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. You see, Zimbabweans were very good at ignoring things that don't affect us directly. right? So when Operation Mrambatrina happened, we didn't give a fuck because it was happening to people who are poor, who had built shacks elsewhere. When the white farms were being taken, we didn't give a fuck because we're not white farmers. Fuck those white farmers. Let them take their land. When Gukurahundi was happening, we didn't give a fuck because it was happening to our Nguni brothers across the border. We don't give a fuck about those guys from they're South Africans anyway, who have a good way of decentralizing our Zimbabweanness when it really matters. The fact that those 3 people were killed yesterday, and those 3 people happen to be poor people who were vending and trying to make a living for their families, and then they got shot because they got caught up in the mess made by the councillors and the government. And yes, it was the MDC council too, you're to blame too. We shouldn't then abdicate and say, fuck him, he's a poor bastard who got shot. That woman is a poor bastard who got shot. Pregnant woman, for God's sake. We must be as outraged because it soon will come into our suburbs. It will soon happen to your mother and your father. One of the guys who got shot is a guy who used to serve newspapers at Avondale. Some of you may know him. We can no longer abdicate citizenry to other people saying they're not part of us. We can no longer do that. We can't do that as a citizen. We cannot let these guys come to parliament and make it a mockery. Those of us who are here on the ground, and I can see a couple of you here right now, next time that guy goes to parliament, let's be there too. I pay taxes, god damn it. I want to know where the diamond money went. And if people stole it, I want them to hold account and go to jail for it. Shit, the amnesty for bringing back the money is almost here. I would like to understand how much money has come back. See, our president was benevolent enough to say he's giving these guys an open season to bring back the money with no questions asked. I want to know if that fat cunt gave us back the money, or if he bought burgers with it and ate it. That fat obese motherfucker. Fuck, man. I was sitting with Chef Bay upstairs. We're reading through the portfolios of things that this Obert Mpofu has been given in charge of. I would like the parliamentary committee to ask these guys as well. When you were in charge of business development and this and that, what did you do exactly? They need to. What have these guys been doing? You know, someone called me yesterday and said, "What about the perm sex in the directors in these ministries? Why don't we ever come down on them? Because these ministers are just, my small house. They come and they go. We want my kids on Garabadeno. My PMC. Who are those niggas? What have they done? What gives them the right to still be there after 37 years? Ministry of Health. What are they doing? What is the plan? What is the plan? In the days of modern technology, what is the plan? Titi says, hold accountable by whom? Those we expect to hold them accountable are the biggest culprits. I think, Titi, you're missing my point. I want them to be held accountable by us. I'm not abdicating the responsibility to anybody else. I want them to be held responsible by us, the citizens, we, the people. The fact that we have representation in parliament, as corrupt as they may be, if they ask the right questions, I'm happy to know the answers. I want to know the answers. You see, it's okay to complain sometimes, but it's okay to also sometimes say, you know what? What we're seeing in parliament now with these committees and the live streams is actually a good thing. Because now it's showing us the fuckery we've been up to all these years. I've never seen these type of things before. I'm really happy that we can now start to see people sit in front of parliament and account. What I'm saying is we cannot let these Obert Mpofus come and mock the parliament like that. See, that's the parliament of the people. That's the parliament where we're supposed to represent us and our interests, in our children's interests. And you can't walk in there and hold it to contempt like that. I find that regrettable. And I'm just saying next time he shouldn't just have to deal with Temba Mliswa and his stuttering ass. he must also deal with us. He must also deal with us. You know, I got into some back and forth yesterday with some comrades. You know, I got comrades, they love selfies. If you go on their pages, you'll see them with selfies and coffins, and they'll be selfieing at funerals. And yeah, I got comrades. These activist niggas, they're comrades. You know. Best thing that ever happened to them is one member of their family gets hurt or taken or some shit. And then they'll ride off that for the rest of their life. See, they add no other value to the struggle. And I had to chastise them. Why are they towing certain party lines? You see, as the pendulum swings, we have some of our comrades, our selfie-seeking comrades, whose noses are so deep in the anuses of the politicians. They're brown-nosing so much that they cannot even see the folly of their own cognitive dissonance. They can't even see it anymore. So they were angry with me for stating the facts. The facts being the plan to move the combis out of town was a council plan. A council plan made up by an MDC council. Now, this is not me ridiculing MDC. No. I was stating actual facts. Now, you see, I'm one of the people who's actually been to town hall to discuss these things. And I actually challenged my comrade. I even said to him, you can bring your phone and take selfies because you like selfies. These are the niggas who, when they'll see a woman beaten up by police bleeding, and they'll go there and they'll selfie the shit out of an old woman who's just been beaten. You know those niggas? Go to their page and say, we see you. We see you. I'm just surprised that every time we got fucked up, I never seen you fucked up once. Why is that, my nigga? Why is that I can dig up pictures of my face all swell up and fucked up? And I can dig up pictures of promises. And I can dig up pictures of Pastor E. I can dig up pictures of even Fadzaima Head and them in jail. But I never ever seen you, my nigga. Why is that? And when I chastise you for being biased in your observations, because to you it's just the junta's fault. I say, yeah, it's the junta's fault. I agree. But it's also these old, tired 20 years in power councillors. You see, Chamisa cannot just get our support because. We can't do that. You see, he needs to also meet some of our demands as citizens. I mean, if he doesn't want, then fine. Fuck us, then fuck you. But he also must. And we're tired of your disinformation. We're tired of your disinformation. If the MDC Council is running a fucked up ship, they must all go. President Chamisa, I know some of your advisors are watching. I've seen them. How you doing, sis? If you would like support, wider support of the general public, then please publicly state that some of these councillors have failed and that you're recalling them and that they're not going to be allowed to stand in the next election. And that you're giving new blood, people who come with CVs and say, this is the plans, this is the things that I want to do for the city of Harare. This is what I want to do for the city of Bulawayo. This is what I want to do for the city of Kaduma. You see? Give us a choice of new blood. People who can actually say, I'm energetic enough and I want to be a part of this process. Because I can tell you when water was coming out of our taps with shit in it, and I filmed it live, you see, because people like Pastor E, when they came on their lives and to show you their water, the water was already in the bucket. So people said, the nigga must have put some madodi or something in the water afterwards. You see, because they think we have nothing better to do with our lives. We walk around collecting shit kutise my bucket. So I went live and I opened my tap, and I live in this constituency, and I opened my tap and I filled a glass with shitty water. And then we said to the council, we want to meet you. And the only person who showed up was Ben Manyenyen. The only person who showed up was the mayor. And if you go and watch the videos, go and watch Pastor E's videos of that meeting with the mayor. We were not nice to him. We were not nice, especially me. I was extremely angry with the guy. I was rude to the guy. I told him to resign. But he was gracious. He was courteous to me. And he told me the problems and the reasons why there was shitty water coming out of my tap. He explained to me why my daughters, my young daughter, my eldest daughter and my son have to deal with shitty water coming out the tap. And I respected him for that. My next question to my mayor was this. Mr. Mayor, you're a good man. You sat here and you took my abuse, you took Linda's abuse, Sharo's abuse, you took Pastor E, you took all of us who sat there, we gunned at it. A lot of citizens were there. He took our abuse, he apologized, he explained to us some things. My next question was, where are your councillors? And he looked down and he grasped and said, my nigga, my councillors are extremely difficult. You know, when he said those words, I realized for the first time that sometimes you can have good men trying to fight when they're with a really bad team. I wasn't surprised then that these bad councillors then recalled Ben Mayeneni. I wasn't surprised. They said they recalled him because he wasn't towing party lines. He wasn't just saying, yes, yes, boss, yes, boss. So that's why they recalled him. President Chamisa, if you want my support, if you want support for people like me, people who see things beyond the propaganda of your selfie-seeking activists, then tell you what, we're ready to go. We want to trumpet your message as far and wide as possible. I even want to get off the internet. I want to go to, I want to go to my home village where the Musasiwa family name at least holds some weight. And I want to really campaign on behalf of an opposition to get this junta out. I really desperately want to use all my skill sets and all my employees' skill sets who are around me and people I influence to get this junta out. That's what I want. But to get people like me on board, Mr. President, you're going to have to promise me that those old losers, tired losers they're not allowed to stand in the next election. I need you to tell me that all those MPs who have never attended Parliament, who have never spoken in Parliament, I need you to assure me that those people are not going back on the ballot box. I need you to assure me that there's going to be some sort of inclusivity for young, smart people who actually give a fuck. If you go on Fadzai at his page, there's a whole bunch of videos of young women who she didn't give them money. She started a credit union so that they lend each other money and they return with a little bit of interest. And the credit union keeps spinning. They started doing peanut butter. They're now sewing apparel for the campaign. And she's working hard in Mount Pleasant right now. I want to know that you're so inclusive that you can look at a young girl like that and say, wow, this young girl reminds me of me when I was younger. I would like her to be a part of my coalition and alliance. You see, that will get people like me enthused and excited. You see, seeing my Mujuru joining your coalition does not excite me. Because as far as I'm concerned, she's part of the problem. She's had a fair share of chowing. As vice president, she was complicit with a lot of evil. She knows where the money is. And she was part of the 2008 government that did short sleeves, long sleeve on people. She was there. So you making an alliance with her does not impress me. You making an alliance with people like Agrippa Mtambara, who raped and tortured people. And this is not hearsay. This is now written in history books. History books. The victim is still alive. She can still tell a story. I think it's Judith Todd. She can still tell a story about Agrippa Mtangwara and those ZANU PF people. Agrippa Mtambara himself said it was a moment of madness and he was following orders. You having alliances with those kind of people does not impress me. I would love to see a Pastor E there. Yes, he's politically naive. He's probably he doesn't know what you know. He's probably whatever. But I would like him to be under your wing so he can be schooled up to be a leader of the nation. Because I trust that he will learn properly. I trust that he will be accountable to people like me and my children, who in 2023 will be 20. My oldest daughter will be 20 in 2023. So, Mr. President, that's what I would like to see. And that's what I'm going to be preaching to the people around me. See, I'm not going to be a blind follower. I'm not going to be a person who just trumpets, chete, 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 chete. Because that's how we had Mugabe. And I don't believe in Mugabe's anymore. I don't believe in Mugabe's anymore. And tell your brown-nosing, selfie-loving sucker fans that people like me will always be there to tell them the truth. They shouldn't attack me. They shouldn't attack me. By giving people one-sided arguments, what they're doing is they're trying to nyima the electorate. They're trying to refuse the electorate an opportunity to learn. Sometimes it's okay for a party to say we are wrong. It's okay for MDC to make a press statement right now and say, shit, man, that was wrong. These guys fucked up. And this has happened, and this has happened, and this is what we want to do. Right? It's okay to say sorry sometimes. I'll tell you why Zimbabweans are mad with the banks. They're not mad with the banks because they understand that their money was stolen by their government. They're mad with their banks because their banks never come out and say, we're sorry. They drive around and see billboards by their banks. They turn on TV and they see TV adverts from their banks, which is all costing money. Stanchart still has billboards. The cab still has billboards, advertising apps. They still pay security guards to sit on ATMs that have no money. The reason why the public is upset with the banks is not because they blame them for the money being lost. No, they are upset with their banks because their banks are arrogant, are still advertising and pretending like nothing has happened, and still made a profit last year. They still made a profit from the suffering of their customers. So this is what we're saying. That it's okay for the MDC sometimes to admit failure. You know, our council has been fucked up. Our councillors have not been up to the job. We've decided to recall all of them, and we're going to give an opportunity to a younger, more energetic demographic. We found people like Pastor E, Ani, who said they're willing to stand in their different wards. We would like them to stand, and we're supporting them under the alliance. Michael, Pastor is not MDC. So what? Neither am I. So what? Don't point redundant points here, man. Come on, guys. If 3 Zimbabwean citizens being shot on the streets does not make you mad, it does not make you go on your timelines right now and put the hashtag ED lost my vote. Then we lost. There is so much talent in MDC. That's why does Chamisa have to go out of his way to... Because Chamisa talked about inclusivity, number one. And number two, a lot of that talent I've met. I met young people, for example, in Ward 17, a young boy named Machesu. Brilliant young man. He was supposed to be running for council. His council seat was taken away and given to an alliance candidate called Jacob Mapumi. He was placated and removed from that position. These are young MDC talented people who are being removed and disgruntled, by the way. Because remember, Michael, people like you are not on the ground. I am. And I'm telling you now, unless the president decides to be inclusive, remove some of that old dead weight and let other people play, then have a proper democratic alliance of young forces who want to see change, then you're living up to your name. A movement, things that move, like a river, it moves, it's not stagnant. It moves, a river moves, and that's why you can drink river water, because it moves and it stays fresh. Of democratic, the people's choice. And our last word is change. A movement, rivers move, water, still water gets mosquitoes and it's fucked up and it gets dirty, you can't drink it. But it's a movement of democratic change. That's what we want. Mzansi Jams, probably a ghost account, is saying ED has his vote. Well, ED and his people killed people on the streets yesterday for protesting transport. So I'm glad ED has your vote. I hope there's more of us than you in this new dispensation. Anyway, I've spoken too much today. Who wants to join me for a quick second? Who wants to talk? Anyone wants to talk? Let me add this Mzansi Jams. He wants to be added. I want to understand why ED has his vote. Kuda, can you start your own party? No. There's no time and there's no time.
Yo,
Mzansi Jams, how are you?
I'm not a Costa Cal, my brother. I'm not a Costa Cal at all. Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
You said ED. You said ED has your vote, my nigga.
Yes. It's not an easy decision to make. I'll be honest. I'm a Ndebele guy. Grew up in Bulawayo. You know our history with Zanen. But the way things have happened, it's been a process where I personally have gone on a journey on thinking about what's best for the greater good. Yeah. And if I look back historically, and if I look at all the signs that were there, that should have shown us all as Zimbabweans what kind of leadership we were going to get from Robert Mugabe, people ignored all those signs, yeah? I feel like this whole Chamisa thing at the moment, we are going through the same process where constitutionalism is being ignored, where we are seeing what looks like the purging of Ndebele leaders from MDC, in strategic positions. I feel like MDC can smell the power. They can almost feel it. And they've suddenly realized, you know what, we don't really need the Ndebele vote no more. So we're going to purge them, put our people in place, and we carry on without them. That's what it feels like at the moment.
So, my brother. So I don't know your name because you got obviously a nomenclature.
It's Juke. Juke is my name. Juke. D-U-K-E.
Juke.
Yeah.
So you're Juke. You're my Thanos. You're obviously, you know, I'm now Kwasha into the Ndebele kingdom.
Absolutely.
So what I need to tell you is this, and I'm going to give you two arguments so that I change your mind immediately. Number one.
Thank you. Yes.
Kupe.
Yeah.
The purging of Kupe is unjust as it is. You have to remember that's not a purging of Matabele land, because there's still very strong Matabele land alliance attachment. People like Welshman Mube and the whole team from MDCN are now a part of the alliance. So the people who have purged Kupe are not the Shoners, it's the other Matabele land MDC faction that is now taking all the seats. That's the first thing you have to remember. Right? So whenever you look at it like that, right, you have to understand that there is a bunch right now of Ndebelers who are still very, very involved in the alliance. Number two.
Yes.
Number two. So that sort of nullifies the point that MDC is trying to purge.
It doesn't, and I'll tell you why. No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why when you finish. But bring a second point.
Yeah. But my second point is this.
Yeah.
You cannot say I don't want to vote for Chamisa so therefore I'm going to vote for ED. You see, as a young person, you have other choices. You actually have other choices.
Absolutely.
I can assure you one thing, my brother.
Yeah.
ED may try and placate it. He may not say sorry. He may not whatever. But I can tell you one thing: when those young men and women were being slaughtered in Matabele land in the 80s, he knew everything that was going on, and he sat on the beat. He was part of the process, and he probably killed a couple himself. This is a fact. Now, no one even denies those facts.
Right.
So when I hear one of my son was saying ED has my vote, it hurts me. I'm like, how is that even possible?
Let me explain to you why. Yeah. Point number one. You said it's the purging of Kupe is not the purging of the Mandebele people, and you came on about the Welshman point that Welshman is on board with the alliance. You can't look at politics so simplistically. You've got to realize what happened to Welshman himself to begin with, yeah? And after that happened to Welshman, you've got to absolutely understand that Welshman must have felt like Kupe was a replacement to him. And they have got a thing going between him and Kupe. So when this is happening to Kupe, trust me, Welshman is enjoying this. He's enjoying it, yeah? But I feel like he has lost that part of him that's a conviction politician, yeah? Where the people are more important than your personal vendettas and your personal grudges. The people have to be the absolute driver for whatever you do, the will of the people. But I feel like we've got very, very few conviction politicians left in Zimbabwean politics. Second point, you come with the point of Kugraundi. It hurts me every day. I have family, I've met people, I know the most gory details you can ever know about Kugraundi, right? But let me tell you something. First of all, there's this, if you look at the world, yeah? Whenever there has been truth commissions or those type of committees held, firstly, I look at the amount of money that are spent around the world to do those things, yeah? Secondly, I look at the results. How the people benefit. Does it help how the people feel after? No. Does it improve the standard of living for those people?
Whoa. You can't
I'll let you finish your point. Can I finish mine? Can I finish my point?
No, but then you're making a wrong point. I need you to go and look at some of the Truth and Reconciliations in Rwanda, where people, killers, people who killed people's families or took their limbs, and the victims are doing farming projects together. Some of these things actually work.
But look at it this way. So what are you saying? That that at the end of these truth commissions, the developed people and the perpetrators should be farming together? Is that what you're saying? I'm not getting it, Kuda.
Absolutely. I think if you bring the victims and the perpetrators together, let the truth be told.
So
it gives an opportunity for people to heal, people to rebuild and reconcile.
Can I tell you? That's
what we need.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. Yes. Accept that point. Yeah. But by what you're actually saying, by implication, is that at some point we have to be farming with the head, right?
But he hasn't admitted anything. He doesn't. He's not sorry. He's not sorry.
Okay, I know people.
He's not sorry. I'm telling you.
Okay.
He's not
sorry.
sorry.
Feelings are different about this, but hand on heart, I feel like the biggest apology Ed could ever make to the region is to make sure that we get good economic policies in place, because in a weird way, what happened to Matabeleland, not just Kuground, but the marginalization afterwards, actually affected the whole of Zimbabwe. Not listen, I know many Shona families that suffered in Kuground, that were killed, that were relatives and that were killed. And the effects of marginalization when the manufacturing industries in Bulawayo were decimated by nepotism and corruption, it affected the whole country. So it's not. I don't have that binary view to say the Matabeleland people only were affected by these things. Actually, the whole country was. Yeah. So the solution has to be nationalist in perspective. We have to look at the whole country. How can we heal the whole country? The shooting of those people.
One question
is so abhorrent. Yes. I'm listening.
One question. So you believe that the corruption, nepotism, and mismanagement by government caused a lot of the decimation of industry, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So how can your solution then be to put a person who has been a part of that same government for 37 years in charge of the same problem?
All right.
How is that even? How does that make sense?
Can I answer? Right. Again, you're having a simplistic binary view of things, right? You're saying the same person.
No, it's not simplistic.
Can I have a chance to answer? Let's look at the beginning of all this, yeah? I said to you when we began this conversation that we should have seen the characters of the people that were coming in. We saw what they were doing. We did nothing. We let them get into power. Look at what, and you say this Cooper thing is not the first thing that's happened in MTC, yeah? Let's look at the history of MDC, the traits that they've shown us. They have zero respect for the Constitution. And I'm telling you, Kuda, I'm happy that Facebook's going to record this. I think Chamisa's going to win, yeah? And I do think MTC and the Alliance are going to form a government. But I do think that at some point, this blatant disregard for the Constitution is going to come back and bite us so hard, we will come back and view this video and say, you know what? My brother was right. My channels was absolutely correct.
Duke, I appreciate your call, my brother. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me let other people have a chance to talk. You know what? Sorry, I'm just checking out the comments, and there's a lot of, could I please end this call, whatever. As you know, on the Tea Party, we try our very best not to censor people. We try our very best to let everyone talk. We try and counter argument points. But we try and be dialogists. We're not intolerant here. So, Brother Duke, thank you. You're always welcome with us. I hope that some of the conversations we have can change your mind and you can actually see things from a different perspective. Let me try and add some more people. Brother Ray, I'm going to add you at the end. Hold on, I'm trying, but it's not. So anyone else want me to add them, please just say add. I'll gladly add you. Then we can talk it out and then wind this up. Anyone else would like me to add them, please let me know. Tatenda, Jokonya, let me try and add you, homie. Any ladies as well, we like to balance our genders here. We had a brother, we'd like a lady as well. But anyway, Tatenda, I'm adding you. See, Ben, you don't actually have an icon of a camera on your picture. I don't know if you're using a laptop or a phone that doesn't have a camera on it, but you actually camera or a phone that actually allows you to do that. Tatenda, I'm adding you one more. I'm trying one last time. And Tatenda's gone. Tatenda's no longer. I'm no longer able to add Tatenda. Ben, same story. I can't seem to add you. Tatenda, for some reason, your camera icon has now disappeared. I don't know if you've changed devices. So Ben Bright, I'm trying to add you one more time. Tatenda Jokoy, I'm trying to add you now. My God, so many want to be added, but Zukuramba boys. Lamek, I'm trying to add you, and that's not gonna work either. Ben, let me try and add you. Not gonna work. Yeah. This is bad. Okay, this one is working. Dabezisle. Try to add you. Hey, my brother, how are you?
My brother, how are you doing?
Nyapila, it's Kupan.
No, Nyapila. I've just been listening to my brother joke there. I think that we have got serious problems as Zimbabweans. We have got now a situation where we have got Ed coming up with very strongly. I think, well, for me, in my opinion, I think that Ed is going to win the election. I don't think that Chemis is going to form election. The problem with MDC, the issue of constitutionalism, is ingrained in every one of us as Zimbabweans, and it is a product that we've inherited, all of us, from ZANU-PF. You look at it, we allowed, even in the constitution, the new constitution, where we have these vice presidents. It is just a way to appease tribalism. By doing so, it does not solve the problem, it entrenches the problem. Just have one person and have a vice president. End of story. Whether if we allow all the time that tribal politics detects what we do, we are having a serious problem. The MD is having serious problems right now, and they should not have had that problem. All what they simply had to do was as soon as Mokan had gone, all what they had to do was simple: go down into their Congress, elect new leaders. If Kuda doesn't win, if Chamisa wins, that will have solved the problem. But it didn't solve because nobody wants to follow the constitution, and everybody wants to play the tribal card. Every time when the victory is certain, we remember the MTC, it split earlier on. Why did it split? Gibson Spanda, we know exactly what happened to Gibson Spanda. Gibson Spanda was treated very cruelly by the MTC, by Tsvangirai, simply because of expediency. Tsvangirai wanted that power. They had ideological differences of pertaining to whether to participate in a vote or not. And that was disregarded. And nobody said anything. So all these things are coming back to bite us. The MDC,
yes,
whether Chamisa has made a serious error, I have no idea how he is going to redeem himself. But he needs some form of a redeem. And the young people need to have, you see what you're doing right now? I like it because young people have got to come up and they bring the advocacy of a new narrative of how we want Zimbabwe to be tomorrow. From these ashes of ZANU-PF, yes, we have to be careful. You alluded to the issue of Rwanda. That is a very serious matter. People died. We do not want to, because once the killing begins, it is very difficult for it to stop. By the time it stops, yes, and the people are playing with fire, we potentially are in that situation, which is right now we've got a military balance within the government. That was a serious flaw. People were running around here because they hated Mugabe so much they did not matter. But now we are beginning to have those problems. Those problems are there. We're identifying them in MDC. ZANU-PF cannot be redeemed. There will be ZANU-PF. They are going to be the evil ZANU-PF as they are. But the MDC, it depends. How are they going to? Chamisa failed to handle a simple thing. And now he's been caught up in the tribal balance. I don't know what you think, my brother, but I think that in the tribal balance, we have let it go on. There is no one that comes up with a new narrative there is no advocacy to say capability is not on a tribal basis. It does not necessarily mean that because somebody is Shona, therefore, capability is not sexually transmitted. You are not necessarily capable of doing things because you're Shona. You are not necessarily capable of doing things because you are in Ndebele. You are capable of doing things because you have developed that capability, whether through skills transfer or through training. That is what we have to have the new advocacy in Zimbabwe right now. I think it's so sad to see that even young people are getting dragged up in all this. Young people are getting dragged up in the tribal politics of 1980 when people were looking at the tribal balance as a way to take and enshrine and put wanted the one-party state. Wanted the one-party state, and it was expedient for him to do. And we're just following it. Those are the ashes of what it is. I don't believe that my brother Joke, his allusion to how we have to forget Ed and his crimes of Gukura a slide because MDC has got a problem. No, let's deal with let's put the advocates to the MDC. That MDC, you have got to reform. You have got to change. You have got to move into the 21st century. Don't be PF 19th century politics. MDC, you should be better. Give us a new, better narrative. We don't have to accommodate killers necessarily because somebody is failing. I don't know if it makes sense myself, but those are my feelings, my brother. And thanks for having me on.
My brother, absolutely. Thank you very much for your insight on that. Thank you very much. I think that was important to say. So listen, guys. I mean, we've spoken a lot. I mean, today's topic, we spoke about Obert Mpofu and his contempt for parliament. We spoke about Temba Mliswa and the role of that independent and parliamentarian who is angry, so hence is paying attention. We spoke about reform in the MDC to win wider support so that they can form a government in the next election. A representative government that has all the talents at hand. And I also was extremely critical of the council, the Harare council, because we're very critical about the government already. But we also now must also learn to be critical about a council that is MDC driven, that is making very, very bad decisions and affecting the people. It led to the death of 3 people yesterday. Bad council planning, brutality from our government. So these are the things that we're talking about today. And the thing is, what happens is when certain emotive things start getting mentioned, conversations descend to fast. So now that Benny is here, Rutendo Benson is here, he's now talking Gukura Hundi, and now people are talking tribalism, and it descends to fast. So I'll stop the conversation for today. I think we've spoken enough. We all know what we need to do in the next election. But I want these politicians to know that we are not going to accept. We are not going to accept a rubber stamping, even of this new president. We're not just going to say, "Oh, great, you're a new face, you're young, we're going to rubber stamp." No, we actually want you to prove to us that you have a plan, prove to us that you're willing to be inclusive, prove to us that you've got some vision for our children and for their children, and prove to us that you can form a new government in Zimbabwe that is absolutely representative of everybody's aspirations and needs. Not just your cadres who took Mbomas, not just your cadres who have been running with you for the last 20 years. That's not the inclusivity that any of us who are especially here on this platform want. Now, that's your choice. As a party, it's your choice whether to accept some of our criticism and our advice. Because none of us are, for example, card-carrying members of your party. So you can ignore us and say, "Fuck you," that's fine, okay? But all that means is that you are not using all your tools to your arsenal. You lose people like me. You lose all the people who are here. You lose a generation of people who are interested but have lost hope in the process. And then the apathy vote is going to win one more time. Apathy is always going to win if our leaders do not listen to what the people want. And I believe we're being fair and balanced, and we're really talking about how do we win a next election and remove a junta, okay? And the way to do that is by being absolutely inclusive, using your best tools in your box and using the best talent in the country to give us an alternative government that can actually do something, have some vision for our country. You know, the problems yesterday, Zema Kombis, is a legacy problem. It's a legacy of a government that was run by a 94-year-old octogenarian who had no vision and set foresight. You know, with the amount of money they stole and the amount of money they built mansions, they could have easily put bus lanes in Harare. We could have easily had small metro buses doing shuttles from various parts of Harare and the country. We could have had a lot of simple solutions. I mean, even Rotendo Benson yesterday sent me 2 voice notes, a minute long each. And in those 2 voice notes, he actually had absolutely solved the transport issue in Harare. In 2 voice notes, in less than a minute. Carl Joshua Nubi on Fadzaima as well solved the transport issue again with another situation, with another option of zoning and transit points. There are many very, very, very smart young people out there who can participate in the solution of what the Zimbabwean problem has become. And I'm hoping that the new young president does that. And the reason why we're talking to him like this right now and giving him some courtesy is because we're seeing what he does next. You see, even ED, as much as I was against some of the things, even I personally said, let me give him some time before I start talking shit. Okay? Let me give him some time. And I gave him a long grace period until I realized that, hey guys, nothing is going to change. We are the ones who are going to have to be the change. We cannot expect old solutions who have failed for the last 37 years to become sudden solutions. Makes no sense. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. This has been the Tea Party. Please share the video. Let's get more people watching. And let's stay woke. Let's pay attention. Let's pay attention. On the 4th of March, ED's 100 days is up. Let's break it down. Have you seen the development? Has the money come back to the banks? 4th of March, guys. Are there new businesses? All these billions that are being announced every day on the ZBC News, has anyone seen even a trickle effect? Our visa issues, our visa restrictions to other places in the world, have they been lifted? What has happened? What has happened? We're tired of the propaganda. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention, we are the Tea Party. Expect us.